Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church in Columbia, South Carolina, where we're part of the ELCA. I'm Pastor Gary Lodehold. When my wife and I got married, one of the things my mother bequeathed to my wife was my Easter basket. All through my childhood and even young adulthood, on Easter morning, I looked forward to my Easter basket. The sweet joy of jelly beans and marshmallow chocolate-covered bunnies and candy eggs was the perfect breakfast, at least in my mind. Actually, I seem to remember that we may have been allowed to eat one piece of candy before we had to march into the kitchen for our regular breakfast. I'll also say that one of the unfortunate things about me being a pastor is that I need to be at church early most Sundays, and especially early on Easter, so I never saw my children get their Easter baskets. I understand that there tend to be two camps when it comes to breakfast. Those who can't stand the thought of eating anything that early in the morning, and those who think it's the best meal of the day. I'm clearly in the love to eat a big breakfast camp, so I think I would have fit right in with the disciples on that morning by the Sea of Galilee. This week we are talking about the Easter feast, focusing on significant meals that tell the salvation story. Here at Redeemer, for example, we usually gather on Easter morning for a breakfast together. It's a wonderful time of food and fellowship and festive celebration. However, long ago there was another breakfast that we might think about as an Easter breakfast. After Jesus rose and appeared to the disciples, there were some days that the disciples didn't have anything to do. It wasn't time for Pentecost yet, and so eventually Peter looked at the others and said, "I'm going fishing." And off to the Sea of Galilee they went. It wasn't a very successful outing. They were out on the lake all night but had caught nothing. Then, through the early morning mist, they saw a figure on the beach, although there wasn't enough light to see who it was. The person called to them in the boat to let their nets down on the other side of the boat. What a ridiculous piece of fishing advice. Still, what did they have to lose? So they did it and caught so many fish. When they counted it, it was 153 of them. But so many fish that their nets were beginning to tear. John said to Peter, "It is the Lord." And Peter jumped right in and swam to shore while the others brought the boat. There they found Jesus cooking some fish over a small fire and warming bread on the stones. A breakfast of grace was prepared for them. Why do I call it a breakfast of grace? In that meal, Jesus met them in their helplessness and hopelessness. They had worked all night and caught nothing, and that sounds so much like our lives, doesn't it? We are so often frantic and harried, and in the end, all our activity amounts to nothing. If we grasped anything at all, what we thought we had slipped through our fingers. Yet in their very real fruitlessness, Jesus met them and Jesus provided for them, just as Jesus does for us in our exhausted barrenness. The resurrection is not some abstract idea. It is real and present and embodied in Jesus. And it makes a real difference in our lives. Like breakfast breaks our fast each morning. There was another important Easter meal, this one happening on the afternoon of Easter Day. Two disciples were on the way to Emmaus talking about Jesus crucified and the report of Jesus risen when they were joined on the road by a stranger. As they continued to talk, this stranger opened their eyes to understand how Scripture spoke to all these things and God's purpose to save God's people. They begged this stranger to stay with them, and that night at the meal the stranger took bread, blessed it, and broke it, and suddenly their eyes were opened and they knew it was Jesus. Jesus had been made known to them in the breaking of the bread, just like it is for us when we break the bread together each week. In that bread and wine, Jesus is revealed to us. God's love is revealed to us. We are made new and given new life. Finally, for today, we need to talk about resurrection rolls. There's not a Bible story about these, but they are a wonderful symbol of Easter and are sometimes served in churches on Easter morning. To make a resurrection roll, you shape the dough around a marshmallow. When it is baked, the marshmallow melts, but it leaves a hole in the bread where the marshmallow was, the empty hole making a poignant reminder of the empty tomb. When you eat it, you taste the sweetness of the marshmallow in the dough, pointing to the sweet gift of grace in the risen Jesus. I never had them growing up, but that's something I would have liked to have seen in my Easter basket. Maybe all this is worth thinking of at your breakfast table every morning. Easter is a feast. It is a table set by the risen Christ. It is a breakfast on the shore. And the invitation still stands. Come and have breakfast. Come with your weariness. Come with your doubts. Come with your failures. Come with your hunger. Christ is waiting by the fire. The bread is warm. The fish is ready. The morning has broken, and resurrection is here. Thanks for sharing these moments with me, and remember to let this day belong to God.